Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Team Destiny call. We have a special guest tonight, and I'm super, super excited for this call. Thank you guys so much for joining us. For Team Destiny, we'd like to give recognition where recognition is due, because that is one of our 4 vital behaviors. So real quickly, I just want to say congratulations to the coaches that already hit Success Club this week in January. So we're super proud of them. So Lynn Ziner, congratulations. You have 10 Success Club points. Lynn, she has 9. Kaylee has 7. Katrina has 6. Patty, 4. You're so close, girl. 1 more point. We just really love to shout out people that are rocking it, because not only are there points, you guys are changing people's lives and helping out this many people, about 30 people, and we're only 2 weeks into January is awesome. It's going to be an incredible year. All right. So my name's Amy Peters. If you do not know, I'm going to pass it over to Amanda, and she'll introduce our guest to us tonight. Amanda, are you there?
I'm here.
Awesome. Hi.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much. I see so many faces. I love it. Thank you for joining us. So I'm just going to do a really quick introduction. This is one of my best friends on the planet. So I'm honored and really grateful that he spent time creating this presentation for us. And just thank you so much, Sean. But he's going to give us all of his wisdom, a little background on him. He started out at PETA as an administrative assistant, right?
Yes.
And he worked his way up all the way, doing a whole bunch of different jobs. And now you run, what do you do?
Yes. Why don't we just jump into it? I have a space.
Okay.
To talk about this. Okay.
All right. So without further ado, here we go. We're going to learn a whole lot.
All right. I'm going to share my presentation via iPad because Zoom is awesome. 1 second. Play. All right. Excuse me. Yeah, so I have been friends with Steele since we were probably 3. And so I've really been able to see how this program has completely transformed her, not even from a physical standpoint, just from a mentality, and the positivity is just, it really reminds me of the Steele that I used to know. And so that's what made me feel passionate about wanting to help you guys. And in fact, I think it was one drunken night when I was like critiquing her posts on her page, and she was like, "Hey, why don't you just do this for everyone?" I was like, "All right, I have some stuff to share. Let's do it." So the background about me that she started, I and obviously a millennial, and I've worked in marketing for 6 years on high-level projects, managing large social media teams, and developing strategy for all kinds of brands in Los Angeles. And as of right now, I am a marketing manager at PETA, and during my time there, I've helped increase their social reach by 300% year over year, which is really what gave me the ability to take over managing 12 creatives. Their social media team is gigantic. But I'm here today because I want to talk about how to reach people on the internet without paying any money into Facebook or any of that crap. One thing I want to note before we get into it is that this is not so much specifically about health and fitness marketing as it is about the conceptual side of reaching people and getting them to share, and therefore getting your message further out there. So first of all, what is reach? Reach is the number of people who see and engage with our content. And on Facebook, I think they call it Facebook reach. Other platforms call it impressions. But even auto-playing video views is kind of a reach metric these days. And all of that reach, it comes from engagement. So when people share, when they comment, when they react, any of those things, that's what gets your post more reach. Sharing is obviously the strongest one, which is why this is called shareability, which is a term coined by BuzzFeed. We used to do conferences for each other. They used to conference us on their content, and we used to give them a conference on the social media strategy that PETA has. So we've learned a lot from them, especially this word. So, getting into social media, one of the first things we'll always hear is, what is my social media strategy? And it's kind of a loaded question. And the answer is that it's a lot of things. It's a lot of things that come together to answer one main question. And that one main question is, why do we want to do this? Strategy defines the why of why are you here, what your objective is, who your audience is. So strategy is the goals that you set to reach your audience and obtain that objective. So as we break down the strategy in these next couple slides, it'll kind of identify the themes as to what content will actually achieve that goal, what content will reach those people with your message. Sorry. And so what is our objective? What is your objective? So you're here because you want to get customers, you want to get more clients, you want to create more coaches, maybe even beyond that, we want people to want to work out, you want to create passion, you want to make people happy and build a community. All of those are very important aspects of what will get you more reach from having a more cohesive brand. But number one, you want those clients and sales and customers. But that totally doesn't completely define our audience. And so who is my audience? First and foremost, it's people on social media. And that's important because that's where you're marketing. And it means that we need to speak the language. It means that we have to follow these trends that will change over time and kind of develop organically. But we have to know what they are. And beyond that, we want more customers and clients and trainers. These are important as well because we also want to speak their language. You know, we want to research their lifestyle and kind of mimic it in the type of content that we create and put out. Of course, demographics are important because, you know, different aged people use social media in different ways. And then income, because, you know, you don't want to be marketing your most expensive stuff if your entire following is college kids. It just doesn't make sense. And then values is one of the most important ones because the strongest way to reach people online is through emotion, and values can cut straight to that emotion. So that's kind of the end goal, and we'll get more into that. But the one thing I want you to remember through all of this is that you have to reach lots and lots and lots and lots of people to get those few that you actually want. So those people we just described, they're kind of like that second interest level on that funnel. The top of the funnel is you want to reach as many people as possible and kind of just bring them down through. So to do that, you want to put, excuse me. Your Facebook page should be about the entire lifestyle and personality of those potential clients. A good example is working at PETA, we have two different brands. PETA 2 is kids, and Big PETA is what we call the PETA everyone knows. And their demographics and what works is very different. PETA 2, the kids, they still love to share photos, but for some reason, the older PETA demographic, you know, they just want videos. They don't want anything to do with photos. It's just important to be aware of because you want to post what your audience wants, and we'll get more into that as well. Okay, so this is where it all starts to come together. This is where we combine our objective and our audience. We broke down who our audience is, what their personality is like, their humor, their values, and then we create content around that. We create content with our message, our agenda in mind, but we want it to reach a broader audience than just those potential actual customers. That's probably the biggest point I'm going to harp on through the rest of these slides. The big question is, how do you do that? I mean, how do you reach the person who says, I hate working out, but, you know, in their head, they're secretly like, I really want to get in shape. They're kind of in denial about it. How do you reach that person? So remember that funnel, it's the opening, and this person would probably be right at the top, and they're important because they're who you want to imagine when you're creating content and you're saying, is this shareable? You want to put yourself in their shoes. Is it something that that person who, you know, isn't yet, you know, part of your brand, part of your audience, but they're kind of on the border. So you want to think like those people. And another example from PETA for this is that they're all very strict activists. So they'll create a page to promote like 21 reasons pigs are adorable. But to put it on Facebook, you know, you don't want to speak to the people who are already vegan. You want to speak to the people who you want to make vegan. So you titled the headline 21 reasons not to eat bacon and put a big picture of bacon on the thumbnail. So it's just, you know, your message is still there. You're just kind of changing the language up to reach those people who are a little bit further out. Slide 7, slide 8. Now, obviously, this isn't that in denial person wasn't the only mentality in your potential audience. There are a lot of possibilities. People have lots of excuses. They're too busy. Exercise is too boring. The in denial one. Maybe some people want encouragement or they're already exercising. The one point out of all of these, the one thing to note is that only one of them, maybe two, are groups that are actively looking for guidance exercising. All the other people, you have to reach them other ways. You know, they're not on Facebook because they want to exercise and like looking for tips and that. But you still want to be able to speak to all of them. They're actually. Additionally, even fewer are probably looking to be coaches. I mean, that's just even further down on that funnel. So what does this mean? It means that at the top of the funnel is wider than all of those 4 or 6 subgroups right there. So the content you make needs to be relatable to more than those people, which I think is where people get stuck because they want to speak to the people who they want in their following, but to even reach them, you have to go beyond that. And there are a few ways to do that. To reach any of them, we need to reach anyone. We need to post content that gut checks people, content that will help us wade through all of social media just to find those people that we really, really want. I'm going to tell you how to do that. Oh no, I didn't skip this slide. Okay, this is the slide I was talking about, where there's all different types of people, and yeah, you want to reach more than those 6 types of people because you need to wade through lots of people to even find them. It would be too hard to find them specifically, but once you get them in there, then you can serve them content that actually fits what their mentality is. If it's boring, if they need encouragement, but you got to get them there first. Well, how the F do I appeal to everyone? Because that just sounds ridiculous. And here's the kicker. It's actually a lot easier than you would ever think. You can appeal to everyone without really changing your content or messaging that much. So whatever you're already doing, we can just kind of tweak it so that it resonates with more people. And all you really need to do this is remove as many variables as possible. And the variables we're talking about is anything that when someone sees that post, a stranger who sees it because your friend liked it, whatever says, never mind, I don't really want to share this. Whatever any of those things are, you put yourself in those shoes and you remove all of those things. I'll show you some examples soon. But that whole concept begs one more question, and I swear this is my last one. What does a share mean? And I mean this in a very psychological way. I mean, why do people share on Facebook? what are they saying when they share something? Sometimes it's to inform, sometimes they want to connect with other people. Maybe they felt an emotion and they want to share it with everyone else. But all of those things are really about one thing: building their online identity. Social media is very egotistical. It's even if you read an article and you love it, you just want to share it. When you share it, you're actually sharing your commentary. You're not sharing the article. So that's what you want to target your content at. How do you do that? How to appeal to the masses. So in a very basic sense, you really just want to make it relatable to everyone, or as many people as possible. Put yourself in the shoes of that stranger who stumbles across your content because a mutual friend liked the post. Would they want to share whatever you're posting is the question you need to be asking yourself. Remember that that person is sharing to build their identity. So if there's too much in there, if there's too much details, too many things for them to want on their Facebook wall, they're just not going to share it. So a good example of this is faces. It's an interesting thing for your guys' brand. You want to personify yourself to being a coach, to having a lifestyle. But that stranger might be a little hesitant to share a picture of a girl he doesn't really know with a quote next to it. Some people will, but if we're trying to get even more people, it's possible that, he's like, I don't know who this chick is. I don't want my friends to see this on my newsfeed and be like, who is this? I don't know. So it's about balance. In the beginning, before you have an audience, you're going to want to use more shots like the Rise and Grind one. It's the back of a head. It could be any girl or someone far away or doing an exercise, kind of shows a person, and it creates that, connects with it in a personal way, but you're not really giving it too much of an identity to scare people away. And again, that's kind of a temporary thing. Once you have a good following, like, people are going to follow you for your personality and they'll want to see your face. It's just a matter of balancing that in the beginning. The other big thing is you using taglines that are broadly relatable. Taglines, I like to think of it this way. Whatever you write on the picture, think about the other person who's sharing it and imagine them screaming it when they share it. They're screaming it at the people who follow them on Facebook. So if it says, I don't remember her name, Brittany lost 80 pounds, that's impressive and it's great and it's really important information that needs to be somewhere. But it doesn't need to be the tagline on the picture, because something like wake up and say, yes, I can is inspirational, and that can apply to anyone. Everyone can share that, and that will get your message out there to strangers, and people will see it and be like, wow, how did they do that? And hopefully they'll click the link, or they'll get linked back to your page and they'll find more information. It's all that funnel, just bringing people down. So little things like that. Beachbody did this. I mean, even that one is probably less shareable because people who aren't already in Beachbody might not share it. So I just wanted to put those two to kind of contrast that, one is just more shareable than the other. And that's what you want to go for, especially in the beginning of building a page for yourself. The last thing is gut check. And this is probably one of the biggest pieces of advice that I give anyone who starts in social media. And really, it's just exactly what it sounds like. It's the feeling when you look at something, and you have that automatic response that you can't hold it back. You're just like, oh, or what the fuck? Like that's what you're going for. That's what you want. When you create that type of emotional reaction, that's when you get people to share content. And there are a lot of ways that you can give people a gut check. It doesn't have to be cute. Shocking works well, obviously, for PETA. Desire, envy, something that fills a void or makes them feel like they're connecting to a brand, or, if it's really so relatable, they feel like it's themselves. But never anything that you look at it and you say, meh. If you're saying meh, just nix it. Nix it, quality over quantity always. So here's my little example. Which one do you see and you have a gut check for? Because for me, it's clearly the corgi butt. I mean, that's just ridiculous. And it's like definitely the subject of the photo, whereas the other dog, I mean, he's cute. I'd probably snuggle the shit out of him, but it's not even really about him. It's about where he is. And so it just, excuse me, getting excited. So I guess the general rule is just that if you're feeling like something is on the fence or could be stronger, it's usually meh, and you should skip it. Quality over content always. The one thing, people tend to think that when you don't post on social media, everyone notices. They don't. People don't notice, and don't take that on any hard bad way at all. It's actually a good thing. We use it in our favor. It means that you can wait a little bit longer until you have that perfect post, that perfect gut check, rather than the kind of one. Which brings me to a little bit about, so we've talked a little bit about how to craft content for audiences, and now I just want to get into some industry standards. And these are kind of the points that Steele and I had started our conversation around. I just didn't want to jump to them without covering some of those sharing basics. So this is literally my aunt on Facebook. She does this all the time. It's always the status that says, I don't know, whatever cause, copy and paste, you're not allowed to share it. I'm just like, aunt, like, what are you doing? This is helping no one. Like, your message isn't getting reach. It doesn't really help people with cancer. It's just poor marketing. But I can show you some good standards. First and foremost, concise copy is everything. And let me tell you, it's probably one of the hardest things to learn. There have been countless studies, which I've linked a few at the end of the presentation, just about the length of captions. And shockingly enough, the optimum length, this is really sad, prepare yourself, for a caption length on Facebook is 40 characters. 40 characters. And they say, I mean, aim to 5 to 10 in a Facebook link share video caption. And blogs, you know, maybe a little less than 2,000 words or seven minutes to read. But people are just very visual these days, and they're not out looking to read something yet, because you're at the top of the funnel. You just want to show them the highlights. And if they're interested, then they'll come through and they want to read your full story. So it's more of a matter of where you place the full story. So for example, on the slide here, I kind of just took what I felt was like the biggest highlights of this post. God, I can't even read it. Morgan lost 80 pounds in 10 months despite baby weight from 5 children and a killer sweet tooth. Like, that's snappy. It tells an intriguing story. It makes me want to read more, which is fortunate because I moved the rest of the story to a blog that you can click to see. And that's called a conversion. You know, you're getting people to your page to where you can actually convert them and give them all the real information. It's basically like a teaser. When you give too much, it just kind of scares people away and brings it back to that shareability thing where, you know, if I'm a stranger, that's a lot of information. And when you share that photo, I'm going to be sharing that with all of my followers. And it's just too much for me to want to do that. You know, there will be committed followers in your audience who would love to, and they probably will want you to post really long captions. But in terms of reaching people, it is not the best strategy. Lots of drafting. The crux of it all, what you want to frame it around, is what your CTA is, what your call to action is, which is what you're asking them to do. And this is really important because you don't want too many CTAs. You want too many calls to action in any one post. You want to kind of identify what it is exactly that you want the person to do. So in the last example, can I go back? Yeah. I wanted them to click. I told us a baby little story, showed a baby picture, and then gave them a link. That was my goal. And this one, so some other possible actions that I could be asking them to do would be to share, to react on Facebook with one of those new little emojis, to comment, click, watch, tag your friends. That's a big one. Or follow, of course. So in that first picture, this time, instead of formatting it for people to click, I wanted people to share. And so I put a tagline on it that was inspirational, and people who don't even know about Body or Beachbody could share that post because they just are into being healthy. That benefits you because your information is still there. It's still, people who are interested can still travel, it can still travel back to you down that funnel. And the one next to it, basically, hold on, this is hard to read on here. So this one I used a tactic where I wanted to tell more of her story because this is, you know, this post is clearly very much for like her followers. Oops. And so I put some of her tips in the top comment. So I posted the photo with just one little line, guided meditations to help me turn my brain off and sleep. There's your quick little highlight story. And then I asked for engagement. I said, what are your good sleeping tips? You know, I want them to comment. More people commenting will give me more reach. I'll reach people who have never seen my page before. But I was still wanted to tell some of the story, so I put that in the top comment at the bottom. It's a trick that a lot of social marketers are using for links rather than putting them in the caption. And even sometimes they'll write in the caption more details in the comments. It's basically just a way to clean it up, you know, make that funnel a little bit longer. Okay, these are just a few more examples of that. So in the bottom left one, my one content producer, she wanted someone to either heart or react with the heart or react with the laughing cry emoji. I don't know. Doesn't really matter. We just wanted them to do one of the two. And asking them directly, it gets, instead of 1,000 reactions on that post, it probably had upwards of 4,000. And there are 2 examples of tagging a friend. I tried to format that Beachbody one into something that would work well with that. I tweaked the caption to retired Air Force vet Brian plus 22-minute day workout plus Beachbody plus Shakeology plus meal plan equals well shit. And then I linked to a story. And then the line below that says tag someone who needs to see this. So basically there I'm trying to play into, this is crazy. You need to tag your friends to show them that it's possible because, yeah, get in shape, friends. I guess is what we're saying. But even asking to share directly, you know, that CoverGirl one just says share if you want CoverGirl to stop paying for tests. You know, it seems a little trite to really say it, but statistically, it just, when people see it, they do it. Cool. Moving right along. This one, I'm going to walk you through how I did this, how I did those other examples. What slide is this? 18. So basically, we want to make something more shareable by removing variables that are holding it back. You know, this is a great post by Steele, and by the way, I don't want to call you out. None of this is bad, and I don't think anyone should feel bad if their posts look like this. They're not doing anything wrong. It's just about constant optimization.
This is a learning experience. So yeah, if you're like, thank you so much. This is what I said, use my stuff and use it as an example. So thank you. I'm not taking it personally at all, and I'm learning a lot. So thank you.
Cool. So now let me explain to you why I changed what I changed. So the text on your photo, the first text says, are you making excuses or are you taking action? So that's really good for if you wanted a coach to share or if you were trying to get people to respond to you. But the second one can kind of do the same thing, but it's kind of geared for more reach, you know. Stop making excuses, take action is an inspirational line that anyone can share regardless of their involvement in Beachbody. And that's what you want. It's the same thing, get your message out there to that top of the funnel. And then I just moved the longer part of her story down to the first top comment. Oops, sorry. First top comment, and At the top, I just put actions speak louder than words. Are you making excuses? Are you getting what you want? Which I wanted to read that one simply because, you know, there was a lot of story there, and I pulled for the caption just the same in the same way. It's what was most shareable. So together, that picture, that tagline, that caption, you know, a stranger could share that and you could get more reach, and then you still have more story and it clicks back to your page. Coming down the funnel. All right. We have just about halfway. What's my time?
9:30.
Okay.
It is 9:30. I am taping it, so you just do your thing. If anybody needs to hop off, they can hop off, and I will put the recording in the groups for everybody to listen to.
Cool. All right. Thank you. So video is king, and I think you can kind of tell this from being on social media. And 19. Just to give you some quick stats, by 2017, video content will represent 75% of all internet traffic, 80% by 2019. The trend is going to continue to grow because they're launching 5G this year, which is even faster than LTE, which basically means things like Snapchat filters, it's just going to get crazy. And you just need to know that, because your goal should be working towards somehow sharing video content first and foremost. 4 times as many consumers would prefer to watch a video about a product than read about it. So, you know, maybe make videos about the things you guys are trying to sell, as I'm sure many of you do. 60% of consumers find it helpful to watch a product video more than once before buying a purchase. Using the word video in an email subject line boosts open rates by 20%. Basically, people love videos. So what you can do is you can share videos from others. You guys obviously don't have giant production teams, so you still want to have video content. And interestingly enough, sharing other people's videos, it was actually one of the highest types of engaged posts on Facebook. It's because people click through to the other page, they'll click through to the other comments, and basically, if you're sharing other stuff that is relevant to your lifestyle and your brand, you're just giving your page more variety and making it broader. You're making that top of that funnel broader. Important thing to note is that you have about 3 seconds to catch their eye because of autoplay. So the climax in most social media videos will be the very first thing that they do. Go live, do it, you won't, we'll hate you if you don't. Basically, Facebook is pushing Facebook Live really hard, and no one has really figured it out yet. You know, it's good for informing people, it's hard to get reach. Some tips though is to, you know, be very well put together. You know, think about what you want to say beforehand. Talking points are probably the easiest solution. In the interest of time, I'm not going to click that GIF, but if you click that one, it's this thing called Whine About Wednesday, and she just kind of bitches about things, and you can tell that she's reading her talking points next to the monitor. But most people wouldn't see that at all. I'm doing it too. Oops. No, sorry. Okay, moving right along. People are visual. This is probably the most important aspect of any type of digital marketing today. It's important for link shares, videos, perfect photo posts. Some stats, tweets with images receive 150% more retweets than those without. And Facebook posts with images see 2.3 times more engagement than those without images. So make sure you're using images, use memes that might kind of give your brand a little bit of a wider funnel. It also gives a personality and shows humor, all things that'll help bring people into your audience so that you can bring them further down the funnel and get them to buy things and join the program. All right. What if I don't want to be trendy? Well, first, this is social media marketing, so too bad. But it's important to note that most of social media, Facebook especially, is moving towards being regarded as very much as a news resource. Now more than ever, timeliness is everything. So things like talking about that giant snowstorm that's going on, or all the rain in LA, whatever dumb current holiday it is, all of that stuff helps. And of course, it also helps to talk about what people are already talking about. And you can kind of do this in a tricky way. So for example, here at the time, Selena Gomez was trending. And so, get a beach body like Selena Gomez. I don't know if she's beach body, but I'm sure she has a nice body and people want nice bodies. The iPhone one, I mean, as long as you're tagging these, you're telling Facebook that it's relevant to whatever the conversation is. Now, in all likelihood, the conversation is not about a 20-minute workout you can watch on your iPhone, but by telling Facebook that what you're posting is about iPhones, it'll loop it in with all of that conversation and get you more reach. So just keep an eye on them, use them in creative ways however you can. All right, so pretty much done with all the content stuff. I just have a couple pro tips, and then I have a bunch of content ideas that I came up with, and inevitably in writing all of this. These pro tips are more for people who have promotional pages already. So if you're posting to a promotional page, you get more options. You can tweak your headline, and I think that that's a really important thing. If we read what it said before, it said Beachbody on demand, streaming Beachbody workouts anytime, anywhere, beachbody.com. Fine. But the new headline says, stream unlimited world famous workouts like P90X, Insanity, and 400 more. And then I captioned it, I just did P90X on my iPhone at grandma's. So I got that trending tag in there, and we edited that headline into something that has a lot more draw, partially just because it's simpler. And we're putting those buzzwords up front. So little things like that if you have your own page. I mentioned before, tagging is really important. Tag whatever you can, because like I said before, it tells Facebook that that's what it's about, and then therefore it'll share it with people who are interested in that. So tag Beachbody, tag your friends when you're cross-promoting their content, tag Shakeology, everything. Last pro tip is to analyze yourself. And that's supposed to be a GIF, but looks like it's not going to play. Oh well. So that was a GIF of me just sorting the export. So this here is an export of all of the posts from Amanda's page, and the very first column is reach, and basically you just sort by that. And I can't believe this won't play. Damn it. Sorry. Lost my track there for a second. Okay, but doing this is important. If you have a page and you can look at numbers, you should, because every audience is different. There are slight variances between all of these best practices with different audiences. For example, on PETA, we talked about earlier how the kids like to share photos, but the adults like to watch videos. That's an important thing to note, and you can find that very easily via your numbers. This also helps so that you can experiment. I mean, we like to write long captions, so this is a good opportunity to write some long ones, write some short ones, then look at the numbers and see which ones really are reaching more people. You can find out for yourself. You can develop your strategy yourself using numbers. All right. I'm tired. Can you just tell me what to post already? So that was a lot, and hopefully you got some content ideas as well as ways to improve the content that you're already posting. But in doing this, I'd like to propose a few ideas that I came up with for you. First, to quickly go over the best practices, share other people's content because it fills the void, makes your variety of content broader, and has really high engagement. Perfect your copy. Link to the full story elsewhere, wherever possible. Until there's an important one. Cross-promote. Gut checks. Yeah, all of those are very important things. Okay, so based on all of that, I have a few content ideas. And videos like 3 exercises for date night. You wouldn't even have to really go through all of them. I mean, maybe just show the move or two. 10-minute workout videos, technique videos I feel like might do really well for people who are already following you. Dispelling fitness myths and videos, that would kind of be a cool live video if you wrote up talking points of like commonly misheld beliefs. Exercise memes, inspirational quotes, yeah. And then I gave you guys a bunch of helpful links that I researched from, and then on the right there's also some tools that you can use for marketing. Pixlr is really good for making collages, and EasyGIF for making GIFs. Cool. So that is it for me. I apologize that went a bit longer than anticipated. But if anyone has any questions, you'll each get a copy of the presentation and all of the notes, and at the bottom has all of my contact information. I don't know that we'll want to do it now, right, Steele?
Well, Amy's gonna post the recording and then I'll share the notes underneath that then.
Okay, cool, perfect.
But yeah, if anybody has any questions for Sean or you need his information, just ask me. I can help you.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, I hope that you guys picked up some things to help you reach even more people and build your brands, and hopefully this wasn't useless.
No, not at all. Thank you so much.
Not at all. Thank you so much. Thank you everybody for joining the call tonight. If you want to stay on and answer a few questions, would you be willing to do that if anybody has questions?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. And if not, thank you so much for getting on. Have a great night. Bye. There is a question in the chat.
Oh, here we go. Does this